Hey everyone, this is your girl, Mrs. Norray, aka L.Boogie, and your boy, Mr. Norray. We're coming at you today with a special edition live podcast. Uh, this one is going to be a hard one for us. It's dedicated to my father-in-law, Lafayette Brown, aka Papi. We lost him this past week. Due to heart complications suddenly. So we do want to remember him always. We want to make sure that we dedicate this specifically to him, and we have a special shirt for funny T-shirt that we have for him that we actually created. I created it the last time I actually spoke to him. Called we dedicated it to him, Lafayette Brown. But it's if you're not choking, you're not smoking. So we'll put the link in the description of the bio so that way you can have it if you're interested in looking at the shirt and supporting Lafayette. We want to send prayers up, of course, to our family, friends, anybody who was blessed and fortunate to have him in your life. But today's podcast, we're going to dedicate this to him, but we're going to be talking about grief, financial, mentally, physically, emotionally, how to get over, how to deal with grief. So this one might be a somber one, not really sure how it goes, but we welcome everyone to chime in if you want to ask questions, things of that nature. And then starting next week, hopefully, Lord willing, we'll be able to go back to our regularly scheduled program, which is normally Wednesday nights, okay, at 8 o'clock. So the thing that we're talking about, blessed is, so for those of you who don't know us, again, my name is L.Boogie. This is Mr. Norray. The T-shirt for the day, in addition to dedicating this to my father-in-law, Papi, the one that we have in the description and link is the shirt that I'm wearing today. As you can see, it says, "My daily prayer, Lord, make me a billionaire." And it comes from the book of Habakkuk 2, verses 2 through 4. So that's the scripture for today. And as you know, we have a line of t-shirts. Shop No Ray is ultimately the brand, but we have t-shirts. We also have a line that is something near and dear to my heart called Flipping Scriptures. So when we talk about being blessed and we talk about being blessed with dealing with grief, how do you actually deal with grief, navigate through dealing with the grief, and still fun? How do you do that? So I'm going to turn it over to you, and you tell me, how do you feel? This all took us all by surprise. The death of Papi took us all by surprise, and it's hard because Papi was a hardworking man, and every part of him is ingrained into our homes and into our lives. He was a jack of all trades, and one thing that he was known for in his actual business was construction. So he built homes and houses. So he's built so much for our home that we live in right now. So right now, he's done everything from our garage, our carport, our gym, you name it, he's put his hands on it. And it's not a moment that goes by that we don't miss him. And, I just wanted to, I would be remiss if I didn't get on and just give him his flowers and allow the opportunity for people to understand that death is something that we can't avoid. It's something that, sometimes it does catch us off guard. Sometimes it is unexpected and we don't know what's going to occur of it or become of it. But one thing that we can still rest assured of, that even though death happens, you can still live a blessed life. You can still have the courage and to go forward. And then you also, too, this was eye-opening, this whole process for me, because there's so much involved financially, mentally, physically, emotionally that you have to deal with and cope with yourself, and also in helping other people. So that's really what the topic is going to be today: how to properly cope and deal with death. The first thing that I would say ultimately, and I don't want to hog the mic, but the first thing I would say is that you have to plan. A lot of people plan for being, buying big purchases or making big purchases or buying homes or even marriages, but they fail to plan properly for their death. And that's something that I learned that is we have to start taking serious. We have to start making sure that we protect our loved ones and we understand that the funeral is not for us. It's actually for the other people. It's what's actually with regards to death, it's more so that you have to be understanding that the days that you work, the days that you labor, that pension, that retirement, everything that you're working hard for, yes, you want to enjoy this now, but there will come a time where you'll be no more here. You'll no longer be here. So you need to start planning for the future and you need to start planning for how you want to, I say cipher your items, your things, your finances, how you plan on handling your debt. I know for us, what I did is that I took out extra policies for myself and for my husband to make sure that we're covered, and then also that he doesn't have to ever worry about bills. Also, I wanted to make sure that my boys were good. So that was a big thing for me. So I wanted to make sure that I had more than enough. But even with Poppy's death, it opened my eyes to see that isn't even enough. It's more than just the financial side. You have to sit and think about how do you mentally cope with this? How do you deal with the things that you've acquired over the lifetime that you've been existing? So what's your take on that?
Um, this is really hard for me because, you know, Papi was my father, and I'm his only son. So I'm taking this real hard, and I pretty much take it day by day. Um, but you hit the nail on the hammer when you said, you have to plan for this, and also, you know, it's a lot that goes along with it after everything is said and done. So, death is coming to all of us, but I hated to see my father go so soon. He lived a great life. He did everything he wanted to do. He lived his life, is what I learned a lot at the funeral from hearing all the people talking and things like that. But I definitely believe that more than ever, it's time to get your affairs in order. Not only financially, spiritually. Um, you know, you need to get right with God. I more than ever, I believe that live a good life, live a righteous life while you're living, and you know, have no doubts where you're going after it's all said and done is important, and also more than ever, I believe in now treating others the way that you want to be treated. I heard that a lot as I was growing up, but the one thing that I could say about my father, and the one thing that everybody else could say about my father, was he never had anything bad to say about anybody, and he always treated people so good. So he demanded that back. You not only did he demand it, but you wanted to give it to him because you couldn't think of nothing bad. When he come around, even if he was mad at you, you wouldn't know it because he would put a smile on his face and deal with it in his own time, in his own way. So like I said, it's kind of hard for me. My mind is still all over the place, and it's gonna take some time, but I'm literally taking it day by day, and also, everything that you did, and the way that the funeral came out and everything. I appreciate you. I appreciate everybody that was involved in the planning and the execution of my father's funeral. It was beautiful. It was definitely the way that he would want to, leave this earth around loved ones and friends. And he told me before, he said, I'm so good to so many people. These people better come to my funeral. And Lord knows they showed out. It was a packed house. It was a standing room only. He got his flowers while he was alive and after he passed. It was beautiful. So once again, thank you to everyone, and thank you, Lisa.
So, what's the process, your process with grief? Because I do believe that people grieve in their own ways. So, for me, like I said before, I'm an introvert. So, I'm real quiet to myself. That's how I handle, that's how I deal, that's how I cope with things. So, for me, I felt like, yeah, I had moments when, we were dealing with Papi and seeing his passing, having to pull the plug. And of course, I grieved immediately for that, but I didn't process it, I felt, until I got home. Once I got home, mm, I got into like I was trying to not get into a state of depression, but I think it's more so that I was just like, I had a somber spirit. Like, I just was so, there's no way or words to put it. I just was so, um, sad. It felt like I lost a friend, like a best friend. It felt like I lost a piece of my heart. And it's just hard to explain because I've never had a father-in-law that I was so close to. And sometimes I think I like them more than you. But he was just such an amazing person. But I think that the process for grieving for me was quiet, and it was peace. And even still, like, I had to, every part of my home that I would go to, I would feel his presence, or I would, and it's, for me, it was harder because normally with anyone else, you go to the funeral, you come back home, you don't have to have it in your face all the time, remembering, the remembering part. But because he literally had his sweat, tears, blood in every aspect of our home. He visited so many times. He shared so many memories. Every happy thing for me reminded me of him. Me going to my gym reminded me of him because he built that specially for me. Me going to the shed reminded me of him. Me going to our entertainment room reminded me of him because he built that for me. And even down to the point where my very last birthday, where he came up and surprised me, he taught me how to change electrical sockets and things of that nature. So every time I flick a switch to the light, I'm reminded of him. Every time I do things, I'm reminded of him. But the process that I have, and I had to realize that today and tell myself, actually this week, because I didn't take a lot of time off from work besides the week that, from the time we found out up until the time we buried him. So I didn't take a lot of time off of work because I needed to keep my mind busy. Um, but for me, it's like I heard it, um, just echoing through my voice. It's okay to not be okay. And that right there just stuck with me, and I had to sit in it because no, I'm not okay. And I don't think anybody who Papi came into contact with, who had an actual genuine relationship, is going to be okay with him not being there anymore. But with time, it gets a little bit better. And I thank my family, I thank friends and those who called and just showed support. I thank you and I appreciate that. And I don't want anyone to ever think that we take this for granted on behalf of, the Browns, and on behalf of, you know, my family, my husband's family, everyone. We just really appreciate you all for all of the cards, the calls, the well wishes, the prayers. We appreciate that, but understand each person does grieve in their own way. So now, with regards to when I came home, I would say, and I don't know about how it worked. It immediately, I just wanted to jump on finances. I wanted to make sure everything was organized, everything was prepared for myself, for my, grandma, for my mom and dad, for even my husband. I want to make sure that we're all straight, because one thing is for sure, two things for certain, I don't want to ever do that again. Dead ass. I don't want to ever do that again. Like, I'll be okay if I don't ever have to deal with a funeral ever again for the rest of this year, next year, 2 years from now, 5 years from now. I don't want to do it. Team too much. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. Team too much. Can't do it.
Yeah, I think that grieving is definitely comes in different ways. Cause you've always been an introvert and um you know introvert to yourself, right? And I'm always an extrovert. And people is what helps me through. Just like my father, could make a friend in a second. As soon as somebody meets us, we're family. Just kick it off like that at all times. So what helped me through was what amazed everyone going back to work and actually being around people that genuinely love me for who I am, and they helped me through. So I want to say thank you to all of you all. You know who you all are. Um, Having people call me and just hearing the sympathy in their voice, and hearing the memories that they had of not only my father but maybe me talking about my father or anything of that nature helped me through. Um, like I said, I'm still dealing with a lot. So, it's still going on, but that really helped me. Um,
It's also important to remember that as you're going through, as you're mourning, to never lose sight of the blessings in the process. You get what I'm saying? Like, not saying that the death itself is a blessing, but I'm saying you have to remember God's hand in all of it. And sometimes it takes training, it takes understanding, and it takes a level of insight that's beyond yourself to see God's working through it all. Mm. To see Him in the midst of your pain, to see Him in the midst of your trials and your storms. And I think that's something that you always have to remind yourself. The whole concept is to never forget thinking of those things. Never forget what that person meant to you. But those times when I start to get down, those times when I start to feel pain, I remind myself of those good things. And I remind myself that He's still here. He may not physically be here in body, but He is physically here in spirit. He's never left. And I listen to those voices. I listen to the sounds. I listen to what my heart is telling me, because I feel like my connection with God, it just draws me closer, because I know that God, without a shadow of a doubt, is 100% real. And although I may not understand why He may have taken Papi away so soon, he was only, what, 62, 63? So, yeah, 62. Papi was literally 20 years older than me. Exactly. So it's eye opening. It's something that shouldn't be. It shouldn't be at all. But who am I to question God? Who am I to question what His will is? I think that what we can do as a people, what we can do as a family, what we can do as individuals is look at this and walk away different, if that makes sense. Like, there should never, certain things just should never take place. It should never happen. Like, we talk about finances, talk about spiritual journeys, we talk about just everything. I know one thing I'm guilty of, even through this whole process with regards to Papi, none of us did. We didn't sleep. We barely ate. I think I came back 5 pounds lighter than when I left. And I think it's because, of course, it was the stress and it was the worry, but that's also a thing by itself. And we have to remember all the time to it's okay to take care of you. And in order for you to be good for anybody else, you have to take care of yourself. And it wasn't until I got back home that I started having chest pains myself. Like, I was so exhausted and so tired from just the worry, the staying up for 3, 4 days at a time. Literally, we were in the hospital for 2 days, I think, just 2 days sleeping in the hospital, and then on top of that, having to put everything together and deal with that was we just could it was no good sleep. I think total for the week we may have got 8 hours of sleep, and it was broken up. So I think that, or less, yeah, exactly. So I think that we have to constantly remember to health needs to be a priority. And that's one thing. If I could change anything, if I could go back in time, and it's like I beat myself up about this too, because I'm like, maybe I should have pushed him a little harder to eat that turkey bacon. Maybe I should have pushed him a little harder, say, Papi, stop, put the pork down. You don't need them cigarettes.
The one thing that anybody that knows my father knows that you can't push him to do that.
True.
That man is going to do what he wants to do, when he wants to do it, how he wants to
No,
do
but
it.
he eat turkey sausage for me. He did eat turkey
Did he
sausage.
swallow? I mean, put it in your mouth, but do you swallow? You know.
Nah, but I mean, that's the thing I wish I would have. And I mean, and it, like you said, it probably was even out of my control, but I wish I would have just nagged him a little bit harder, pushed him a little bit harder. Papi, don't eat this, or, eat that turkey bacon, leave that pork alone, or don't smoke, or this and that. I wish I could have did that.
Turkey bacon is hard.
No, ain't nothing wrong with some turkey bacon.
Like cardboard.
See, I was raised on turkey products. Like, I wasn't raised on pork. So pork is a foreign body to me. So it's like,
that's why you are how you are now.
Healthy.
The reason why you have no taste glands. Okay, and your ass and I can feed you a graham cracker and you will love it is because you ain't got bad taste. You're the blamest woman I know. I mean, we have a cabinet for seasons with no seasons. What? I don't even want to say that.
It's not any.
Gonna say the herb.
It's not any salt products or anything of that nature, because I'm big on health, and I think that a part of remembering Papi, we got to do better. That's one thing I want for my family, my friends, whoever's listening or dialing in, or even let's plays this back later on. We have to do better. We have to eat better. We have to remember to make time for each other more. We have to make sure that we're doing our part and playing our role, because medicine can only do but so much. You only have one heart. So you have to take care of it. You are only granted one body, and it's a gift that's given to you. So really, if you think about it like that, if you think of your body, my mom used to sing a song that says, "This body of mine is God's temple, his home away from home, and I must make it spotless for him." So in thinking of those words, if you think of those words, that's saying that we're on loan. So think of how many ways we make God sad. Because I look at God like, and I've always done this, I look at him like he is my father. So just how a child would get disappointed with, or a parent would get disappointed with the child, when I do something wrong, I feel like, God, I disappointed him. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want to do that. I don't want God to be disappointed in me. So really, the blessing of all of this stuff, even with Papi's passing and remembering Papi, the way we can honor him and honor his life is by doing better. Because I guarantee you, if he could speak to us one more time, he would tell us to do stuff different. And that's different in every aspect, whether it's financial for some, whether it's mentally for another person, whether it's a marriage emotionally, whether it's physically with your own health and your own well-being. I guarantee you Papi would come and say he wants something to be done different. He wishes, like, he would want us to go forward with life, but different, live better, live, what's so funny about that?
He would say, "Boogie,
Boogie,
Boogie, what is this that tastes like cardboard?" That's what he would say.
Now, Papi, one thing about Papi, though, I would say, with me anyway, he was a trooper. Like, my father-in-law, he was a cooker. Like, when I tell you, nobody, not Kentucky Fried, not Popeyes, not anyone, Bojangles, Church's Chicken, nobody could get me to eat chicken on a bone. Nobody could do that. I eat a chicken breast. I eat something I could cut with a knife, but I just never liked working for my food. Like, it was just too much for me, right? But Papi made this chicken one day. He made some wings. And when I tell you, my whole heart felt like it was just dancing. Like, and Tia caught a picture of me eating this piece of chicken. And I mean, man, it was the best darn chicken I ever had in my life. And from that point forward, like, if Papi making some chicken, and even Keith, I ain't gonna front with you. If Keith makes some chicken and Papi makes some chicken, I'm gonna eat that chicken. Because that chicken is a bomb. You put your whole foot and everything in that chicken. And didn't even have to wash it. That was some good chicken right there. So definitely that's something that, I'm definitely gonna miss, but I thank God that he instilled those skills. Although he didn't instill it in my husband to cook, he gave it to Keith. Thank you. Hallelujah. Won't Keith do it? Okay. I digress. Okay. I digress. But anyway, so after we talk about the finances, we deal with the emotional issues and things that come with it, as far as the just overall the grief process. So grief, of course, as people know, it comes in phases. It has phases and things of that nature, of course, that you just have to deal with. But the beauty of it is that with each phase, you like to say this, there's a end point.
Yeah, right. There's an end date to everything.
Yeah.
So, I feel like, me and my wife, we talk about bills all the time. And she stresses out. I mean, she gets stressed over the simplest thing. I'm like, listen here, I got that.
No.
You get stressed. So, do you not? Okay. And what did you just push? You lucky I couldn't hear it. But I tell her all the time, there's a start date, there's an end date. That's the beautiful thing about life. That's the beautiful thing about everything. When you get upset, you're upset for the moment. In that moment, you might feel like the world is on fire, the world is over, everything is just boom, blowing up. But then you digress. That's why even in our relationship, we have learned to walk away. Just if the person is upset and you said your piece and it's not going anywhere, just walk away. Both calm down, come back at it at a later time, and everything will be all right. Older people used to say, be a big person. But, but yes, everything has a start date and an end date. And the beautiful thing about life is that even though if you're going through something and if you feel like it's, it's the end of the world, just go through it. Just walk through the storm. Just keep on moving. Just don't give up. And sooner or later, the sun will come out again.
I think it's stuff different. So for me, I don't stress necessarily about the bills. I stress about the finish line. See,
I feel you on
my
that.
anxiety kicks in because I'm the type of person like
You
I
don't
don't like
want to
that.
see it. You see the finish line right there, and it's like I'm touching it, but I want to walk. I want to run past it.
I'm ready to get to the finish line already.
But what did we talk about earlier today? And I said to you, I said I will refresh your memory because I'm like an elephant. I don't never forget. So don't make that face. So I said to you this earlier today. I said, look at it like because you're so big on health. I said, look at it like health. You can take a whole week of binge eating and gain 20 pounds easily. Binge eating 20 pounds easily. Easily, right? But it took you a week to gain it. But it might take you a month or two to lose it. Because anything that's worth anything in life takes time. And I know I messed that one up, but that's true. Anything worth anything worth its weight will take time. It takes time to do it. It takes time to learn it. It takes time. You get what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So with bills, it just takes time. You could swipe the credit card and swipe something for $5,000, but it might take you 5 months to pay it off. Because that's the beautiful thing about it. and everything. And see, but what I told you is because you do a little more than what they ask, you a lot more than what they ask. I was not gonna put it up, but a lot more than what they ask. You know, it makes it go faster than it usually would. You know, and the one thing that I learned from you was how to pay more on bills. And and the one thing that I hope you learned from me was how to say, do I need this or do I not need this? Or if I can afford this, so I get this. And
I don't think that spending was ever my issue. Like I'm not a spender. Like I don't have to. I mean, when it came to jewelry, of course, but I'm already got my jewelry, so I'm good. But I'm not like really a spender. So honestly, I don't even like spending money if I don't have to. But I'm a giver. You know what I'm saying? I think that's a weakness that I definitely have. That I would literally give my last before I think of myself, because I look at it like I got two arms, I can go work for it. But now getting older, my mind and that is changing. But I also feel like with regards to like debt and things of that nature, I don't stress about debt because it's my debt is all paid up. You know what I'm saying? It's far in advance, but the finish line is what gives me anxiety because it's like I see that finish line, and before Biden lied and said that he was going to wipe these student loans out. The finish line was here. Shit. Now the finish line right over there. Shoot, I owe more of my daggone student loans than I do my house. Okay, so like that part stresses me because it's like how do you feel that see the finish line for that? But even with that, I still see God's hand in it all because I'm like, thank the Lord I worked in healthcare. So thank the Lord I'm able to qualify for, those forgiveness programs and things of that nature. So yeah, 20 years is cut down 10, but it's okay.
We have conversations about everything. That's the great thing about our marriages that we talk. We try our best to talk it out with anything and everything.
Right.
And we even talking about that. I tell you all the time, I went to Howard University, HU, but and I tell you all the time, I'm proud of you for you got student loans. You got a lot of them. Yeah, but look at all the degrees you have. Look at the master degrees, and even with that, you do what you went to school for. There's a lot of people out here that go to school, they graduate, and they got all these student loans, and then they go get a job doing totally different than what they went to school for. And now they have this debt. Plus, they don't make the money that they, what I'm saying, that the degree that they have will give them just because they don't feel like doing it no more, or it's not them anymore. That season has passed.
But I think that even with that being said, I wish like if I would have known everything that I know now, like the the way the world is coming nowadays, especially now with this younger generation, this is the generation of millionaires. These young people wake up are Instagram famous, YouTube famous, things of that nature. So college now is dwindling. Their desire to even want higher educational learning and things of that nature is dwindling, but the need is still there. But even with that being said, like I have so many like degrees that I had received, and that's fine. But the debt that came with it, when I wish I would have realized, like, yeah, you don't need to do all that. You really don't need to do all of that. At the time, because of the age bracket that I'm in, yeah, you did need to do that. Degrees equal more money. But nowadays, you don't have to live like that. And that's fine. And I actually applaud the generation nowadays because I applaud them because the generation nowadays, they're so smart with regards to that. Like they're walking into their own, they're claiming what they want, they're speaking up for themselves, where there was times even with my own self included, I wouldn't advocate for myself with employers or things of that nature. I would take what was given to me because that's how we were ultimately taught. So I mean, I think a part of remembering Papi and remembering him, I'm pulling away that good things. Papi never took nothing from nobody. And he wasn't rude. He was the nicest man in the world. But I think that the way I'm going to live my life now is going to be out loud, meaning that if I don't want to do it, I ain't doing it. Now, I already had a little bit of that going on.
Your ass always been like that.
You tried it.
I did that. I did that.
You tried it. But
look at me here.
But nah, like one thing that I like though, and that I'm going to dedicate to my piece of remembering Papi is to put me first, to take care of my family, not just now, but for the future, and to also make sure that I put me as a priority. Those are the three things that I think I'm going to walk away with and with Papi. And he's never going to be far from my heart. Like, although it still feels like a whole half of my heart is gone, and it hurts so much. Remembering those lessons and the lessons that he taught me, like how to fix things and how to build things and things of that nature. I'm gonna always cherish that and remember it. I'm always gonna keep that near and dear to my heart, and I'm always gonna make sure that I pass that along because those are skills and traits that I know he would have wanted passed on. And not just that, it was other traits and skills that I had that he actually liked or inquired. So the way I handle finances, the way I deal with how I have a heart to help people and things of that nature, but also don't take mess. Like that's the type of thing that Papi liked. So he got a chance to see the quiet side of me and the not quiet side of me. But he got a chance to see who I love being, which was Boogie. Boogie is the person that you turn on that music and I'm lost in it. I love it, and I dance to it. So that every time I listen to music now, it's remembering of him. It's every time I dance now, it's gonna be a memory of him. I don't know, remembering remembering him. I mean, okay. But no, I mean, but ultimately that's it for me. What about you? As far as like, if you could summarize everything up, because we are already hit the time frame for us. Summarize.
Summarizing.
If you could walk away with remembering Papi and thinking about finances, health, wealth, what do you think that you walk away learning that different? That you could say, okay, he passed. We laid him to rest, but he's gone, but never forgotten. And I'm gonna do this to walk away different. What would you say?
I mean, it's a couple things. One thing would be, him and me had a conversation about getting my health right. So, that's a big thing for me. I want to do that more than ever now. Another thing is living life to the fullest. My father asked for forgiveness, not for permission. So I always said, you only have one life to live. But more than ever, I mean it now. I am okay with anything and everything that happens from consequences that I make. You know what I'm saying? And like what I mean by that is taking chances, not thinking so much on, failing, because you have to fail to succeed. Everybody is not going to succeed all the time, but it's the things that you take from it and the lessons that you learn from it that you have to take with you. You know what I'm saying? And taking chances, that's something that I dealt with myself, and I want to I learned that from him because my father took chances on it. He bet, and betting on yourself. I want to bet on myself now. I'm not so much into what I can provide and what do I bring to others more than betting on myself, starting new businesses and succeeding in businesses that I have, and really giving it my all, taking a chance and betting on myself, throwing it all out there. So those are the things that I would summarize to my father. He was a man's man. You know what I'm saying? He really did it his way.
Well, I appreciate everyone for logging in, whoever tuned in or whoever's going to watch the recap of this. And I want to give a special thanks out, shout out to our cousin Keith, our cousin Tia, our cousin Sam, because real talk, without you guys, we wouldn't have been able to make it through this week. While we were down in Virginia handling Papi and things that goes with them. And then also my family, the Pleasants, my cousin Shelly, Brett, Dina, everybody who texts me, get calls, reach out, my aunts and uncles. I appreciate you so much for even thinking of us from a distance. I appreciate that a lot. Words can't express how much we are truly grateful. And again, for those who are tuning in who new Papi, who want to support or anything of that nature, please log on to the website. Check out his shirt that's dedicated for him. If you're not choking, you're not smoking, the link is right here in the chat. And also check out the other collections that we have with Flipping Scriptures at Shop No Ray Collection. We appreciate you guys for everything that you do. And before we leave, I want to leave you with this song that's been sticking in my head. It's called Yet. So I want you guys to just hear it so that way you can tell me what you're thinking. This is dedicated to Papi. I know I'm not your best, but I'm trying. Mm. And I'm here alone. You know I need you still, and I'm trying. Here alone. I love this song. I heard this song actually before Papi passed, and I just couldn't get it out of my head. But now that he passed, it means even more. So I know that people have lost ones that they've lost. So find encouragement, find hope, and understand that you are still blessed and can still live a blessed life even with their passing. Don't give up. Don't give up because God ain't give up on you. This is Real Talk. Talk about blessed with L.Boogie and Mr. Norray. We'll catch you next week. Peace.